Hi, I'm JoyGenea with If These Heels Could Talk and Solutions by JoyGenea.
And we're going to start that over.
Okay, fine. I can't.
Okay,
Oh, we're
then
live.
let's keep going. I'm Michelle with Bad Cat Digital.
Send her a new.
Welcome to If These Heels Can Talk, and our very rocky beginning. We're going to fail forward as we talk with Tara from Aligned.
I coach people through that all the time, Michelle.
Yes, Tara Gronhovd from Aligned. Welcome. Thank you so much for your time today. Tara is a leadership and business coach with over 17 years of experience in leadership development and small business operations. She's a Gallup certified Clifton Strengths coach who loves working with leaders who are open to growth and believe in healthy leadership. Tara is a change agent, don't I know it? And as one of her clients has said, do not invite Tara to the table unless you want it reset. Welcome, Tara.
I'm so thrilled to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And we like to have our guests, seeing as you are the very first one. So thank you so much. But we think it's going to be really good to have our guests start with a really difficult and probing question. Mm-hmm. So what is your favorite brand of shoes?
This is a deep, important question for all women to consider. So my favorite brand of tennis shoes, because COVID, is Brooks Adrenaline.
Nice.
Yes. My pre-COVID, and actually probably pre-40s, I wore a lot of heels, and my favorite brand was something called Naughty Monkey. They were really bright and funky and fun. And then I got older and decided that I'm cool not wearing heels. So now I like a wedge.
Nice.
But I don't have a
specific So like brand. Stages of,
went from Naughty Monkey to Brooks Adrenaline tennis shoes.
Is that the function of having small children?
I think so. Something like that.
That's fun.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that. We do actually have some real serious questions. So Tara, thank you so much again for being here today. And we want to talk a little bit about coaching and operations and kind of what you do. What is one of the biggest trends you're seeing?
I think one of the biggest trends that I see, and granted, it's because of the work that I do, but I see more and more small businesses investing in coaching for new leaders. So emerging leaders. I don't know that was something that was happening even 5 years ago as much, but I'm seeing more and more of it, and I get hired more and more for it. But really recognizing that you go from an individual contributor to a manager for the first time, you have no clue what that means. And there's usually not a handbook in small business for what that means. And so having a coach or a mentor to help them navigate those choppy waters of having to then usually manage their peers and help them through the challenges that come in that first year of leadership. I think that is one of the things I'm seeing more and more people invest in.
Interesting. That's really interesting.
I have a follow-up question with that, just because now I'm really curious. Is there one particular thing that you're noticing in these young budding leaders that's a particular area you wind up focusing on kind of right away?
Boundaries and accountability, but I think that's something that all leaders have to work on, and conflict management. Most people haven't had to have a hard conversation.
Oh yeah, we run into that a lot.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So just helping them figure out how to do that in a way that is aligned with their style and their talents, instead of trying to follow some sort of script, because that never goes well, because then you take the authenticity right out of it. And with new leaders, I often see them trying to work around accountability rather than really learning what accountability means. So let me just take that work back from that person. Let me just work around this person. Let me just be really frustrated behind their back, rather than
Yeah.
Sabotage.
rather
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
rather than actually dealing with it.
So, as you kind of said, finding their style. I know that you are Gallup certified strengths coach, and that framework, that strengths framework, what is that exactly, and why did you pick that?
Yeah, I've worked. So Clifton Strengths is an assessment that's based on positive psychology, and the basic tenet is you can make infinitely more progress by focusing on how you're naturally wired than trying to be someone you're not.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And so the assessment has 34 talent themes, and it puts them in order based on how you completed that assessment. The chance of you having the same top 5 as someone else in the same order as someone else is 1 in 33 million. So when you talk about finding someone's personal style, I really mean customize their leadership style to how they're wired. And the assessment doesn't say, the results don't tell you what you would be good at, they tell you how you would be good at it. So what
Interesting.
your approach and motivations are really have to do with what you naturally prioritize and procrastinate, and understanding that about yourself helps you kind of create a definition of success within a specific role or responsibility that is unique to each person. So that's how I use that framework. And so I use it because I love the fact that it truly is unique for each person. A lot of personality assessments put you into one of 4 to 16 boxes. And this is about finding what is truly unique about each person.
Have you done the Strengths Finder?
Yeah, actually, just in full disclosure, Tara's
Yes.
actually my coach.
Got it.
And
I've
so
done it also, not
yeah.
with Tara, but I've done it in, yes.
Well, and I what really appeals to me about it is that it focuses on building what is already there instead of running into trying to change what doesn't feel natural or right. Sometimes
Yeah.
it actually is in very keeping with my therapist's approach as well, which is nice that my coach and my therapist tend to agree a lot. Although I would say it feels fairly pointed when they agree a lot. Because when you have two,
I'm glad I don't actually know your therapist.
and they're both like,
It's a lot of
you
insight
have to kind of you have to listen double, or ignore that much harder. So, but what I really like about it is that my therapist will say, there are things that you do. They're not bad things. They're not good things. They're just things that serve you or things that don't. And that fits very much in with what Tara talks about with strengths.
Okay.
This strength will serve you in these ways and present you with challenges in these ways. So how do you keep what works for you and rely on another strength to backfill the challenge from this one? Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah. I should sell for you, Tara. I could totally do that.
Thank you so much.
I think you got your own stuff.
What
to
else
sell.
do you know, Michelle, about the work that I
Focus.
The next question is, what do your clients or customers need from you right now? And I know you've kind of, part of how we titled this was Dyad coaching. And I was super curious when you put this on there. So I want to hear more about that.
Yeah. So I think what all people in general need, and more so today than ever before, is to feel seen, heard, and valued. And so in general, in terms of a really basic core human need, I think that's one of the things that I enjoy providing in the work that I do. But we also want to be seen, heard, and valued by our colleagues and our coworkers and the people that we work with. And so one of my favorite things that I do is called, you had mentioned, JoyGenea, Dyad coaching or partner coaching, where I work with 2 people together and bring them together so that they can better understand each other's strengths, each other's motivators. I always say with strengths, it's more important to understand someone's motivations even than the behavior, because when we know where someone else is coming from, we can have more grace for them, and it helps enhance collaboration and communication. What we all do as humans is we see someone behaving in a way that doesn't make sense, and we apply our filter, our motivators to that behavior. What would it take for us to be motivated to act in that way? And then we make a ton of assumptions that are 90% incorrect. And then we make leaps in judgment. I mean, all kinds of mental acrobats. And we end up frustrated because there's a basic lack of understanding of each other. And so the Dyad coaching is meant to bring people together so that you can really better understand each other. I've done this with business owners who've been partners for 26 years and seen aha moments. I've done it brand new onboarding with people who've never worked together before, and it's helped them set them up for success. But that Dyad coaching, what I love about it is seeing the light bulbs come on about each other and knowing how well that's going to serve them, once they walk out of that room.
That's nice. That's really cool. I'm sure that's quite a fun thing to do and be able to help people connect better. Really, at the end of the day, it kind of gets into connecting and being better able to relate and connect to each other, thereby increasing and improving communication, which saves us all so much time when we don't get hijacked by all the stories and the 90% of the stuff we've made up.
And I can imagine that it sets people up to feel safe in kind of conflicting moments, or to provide each other with constructive feedback, performance improvement feedback, anything like that is always a challenge. It's very emotional to give and receive.
Yes.
Things like that.
Well, and almost all of the time in those conversations, we're able to identify really common sticking points for that particular relationship. So here's where we butt heads, and it's based usually on our wiring, how we're wired. And so let's just be honest and real about the fact that we're going to butt heads here and expect it rather than getting defensive about it. Because when we expect it, then we can welcome it and talk about it. I'm someone who says, if there's an elephant in the room, let's name it. Let's talk about it. Let's describe it. I hate
Put it
ignoring
in a tutu.
Let it dance and let's get this.
Humanize it and make it part of the conversation. Otherwise, there's all this like undercurrent of tension happening, but no one's actually talking about what's going on, right? So this just gives common language in a way that no one needs to feel defensive about. It just gives them an opportunity to talk about it, like, oh, here's this thing that we know we struggle with, and it's popping up again. So let's talk about that.
And then it's a we.
Yes.
Here's this thing you do that pisses me off. Language. But here's this thing that we struggle with in our relationship together. And that really, again, it's about building that team in authenticity, in kindness, but not that toxic niceness of I'll ignore it and just tell you I like your shoes and it'll
just be resentful about it.
Yeah. That's not always lovely.
Yeah. All right. What is the vision for the future of your business?
I started Align a year and a half ago, and I had a vision at that time to grow, but I wasn't exactly sure how we would be growing. And the need that is so apparent everywhere I look is mental health and well-being in the workplace. So a lot of the coaching I do is really based on growth. So clarifying and helping you overcome roadblocks so that you can grow and move forward. But sometimes we have really hard other things that are happening personally, or sometimes we've experienced trauma and difficult things at work that are impacting our ability to really move forward. And we need to ground, what I call ground or heal or recover first. So we are actually this month launching something called SoulCare in addition to the coaching that we're doing. And a dear friend and colleague, certified counselor named Pamela Nelson is going to be joining Align, and we're going to be offering those services for when there are circumstances that require a little bit deeper level of counseling in order to then eventually move forward and grow.
That makes amazing sense. Like I said, I have found tremendous benefit in both coaching and therapy simultaneously, and kind of this idea of bringing your whole self to work, which is a phrase that I've completely and totally ripped off from Tara, to give her all of the credit in the world. To bring your whole self to work, meaning all of your baggage comes with you.
Yes.
Not just like JoyGenea with her 5-6 bags that she carries all the
not just
time,
that.
but all of what that means, and all of that outside stuff that comes in with you. It's really, really lovely. So what can you talk a little bit more about SoulCare? What is the kind of ideal, like who would benefit from SoulCare?
Yeah, I think, you know, anyone who's just feeling, maybe you're in coaching and you're not just a little stuck, you're a lot stuck, because there are some significant things going on emotionally that need you to pause and pay attention to. And I do some of that in coaching, but that is not my area of expertise and training. And so being able to partner with someone who can come in and provide that pause, and that, again, we call it kind of grounding and growing. So the grounding piece of helping them feel stable and recovering from whatever it is that they need to recover from. I mean, a lot of times, if you think about it, we have really hard things that happen at work. It could be a leadership change, or maybe just COVID has caused incredible stress and trauma in the workplace. Or maybe you're going through something really hard personally and it's impacting your work. Being able to, with Align, if you're in a package with us, you can just use sessions interchangeably with Pamela. And so if you need to pause and do some of that work and then come back to coaching, you can. And so we're excited to be able to offer. I'm not sure, I'm sure other people are dealing with mental health in the workplace, but this feels like a unique approach to it.
Absolutely.
No, I think it's great. I have one great last question for you, and it is, what is one thing in your life and also in business that you wish you had known sooner?
One thing, or not the 20 things that come to mind?
Just really the top
Pick
2 or 3.
one,
Okay.
maybe 7,
I think so. One is based on like where I am in life right now, and one is based on just how I'm wired. The how I'm wired one is something I did learn from having a business before, and then dissolving that business and going and working for companies and coming back. But what I learned is I don't have to recreate every wheel. I can have framework and structure, and it's good and healthy, and I can still be creative in it. But I didn't know that earlier in my career, and I wasted a lot of resources. I think because of it. Not that I didn't learn; I call it all tuition. It was tuition for where I'm at today. But right now, where I am in my life, I wish, I did therapy when I was younger, but I decided to go back last year. Since we're on this topic today, it seems to be just
talking about
the theme.
Let's do it.
I'm learning how to do the hardest thing I've ever done, and that is learning how to feel my feelings. Ugh, there's terrible. Why do you do that?
There's not just 3 of them: happy, sad, and angry.
Right. Have you seen Brene Brown's new Atlas of the Heart? It's beautiful, and she has research around, like, I don't know, there's 80 or some different emotions she's identified, and it's highly helpful when you're trying to learn like the difference between how you're feeling when you're really used to just like masking all the hard ones. So our emotional health can't be ignored. I feel like it's our duty as leaders. And by the way, I think everyone's a leader because you all have influence over someone else.
That's a great point.
Mm-hmm.
That is
and
a good point.
Our emotional mental health impacts, as Michelle said, we bring our whole selves. I kind of say, wherever you go, there you are. And so we bring ourselves everywhere, and we have a responsibility to each other to be doing our work. And I wish I had done this work sooner, but I'm because it's not fun, I'll tell you that, but it is important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well said, and really, really good advice. Thank you for being vulnerable with us to share that and with our listeners, because that's a really valuable thing.
I think
And thank you for naming the mental health elephant. I think George. We could go with George.
George?
Yeah, George. I like it. No, that's
Can
my
he wear
steak's
the-
name.
Yeah, he's got a tutu though. He
Well,
seems
George with the tutu. That sounds good.
sounds like a
and
mental
naughty
health
monkey
elephant
shoes.
if I've ever heard one.
And naughty monkey
and
shoes.
naughty monkey shoes.
Yeah,
Okay,
naughty
now
monkey
I'm in.
shoes. The elephant on naughty monkey shoes.
I like
I
that.
love this.
Can I just say one thing about that?
Yeah.
And, I appreciate you, thanking me for my vulnerability. And I just want to encourage all people to think about talking about these things more, because our talking about them as leaders matters just as much as our doing our work. There's research to show that when leaders are modeling good self-care, soul care, mental health care, it gives permission to their employees to do the same, and the people around them to do the same. And so talking about it is, I think, of ultimate importance if we really want people to seek the help that they need.
Love it. Absolutely. I don't know that we could.
Nice job.
We'll have to. Okay, that's it. So, If These Heels Could Talk is now going to move over to Tara, who will be taking over from here. And no, I'm just kidding. She's like,
no, I think you do such important
do.
work. Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be with you.
I think
As
so.
you continue to grow and so forth, I think having, it'd be great to check in.
It'd be great to check in
some things
and see how SoulCare goes.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Tara, with Align, with SoulCare. Thank you so much for joining us on If These Heels Could Talk. And thank you to everybody who's listening in. Really appreciate it. Be sure you check out Tara, aligntransform.com. And we'll also, on the website, iftheseheels.com, we'll have links to Tara's socials and her website listed right there. So you can get in contact and hear her amazing advice, custom to you, by paying her. So enjoy, and we hope you get in touch. Thank you all so much.
Thanks.
Oh, thank you so much.